Vivek Ramaswamy destroys CNN's Jim Acosta on media bias against Donald Trump. Your network owes some accountability from Russian collusion hoax and Hunter Biden laptop story. Video, conservative angle. In an interview on Saturday, GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy took CNN's Jim Acosta head-on. In a tense exchange, the main contention was around former President Trump's remarks in which he referred to the January 6 rioters as hostages. Acosta began by bringing up the subject of a recent rally in Texas where Trump had the national anthem performed by some of the January 6 protesters. He asked Ramaswamy's opinion on the use of the term hostages by Trump to describe the prisoners of the January 6 events. Do you agree with Trump that January 6 prisoners are hostages? Acosta asked. Ramaswamy replied by insisting that the peaceful protesters from January 6 should not be imprisoned, painting the situation as a manifestation of a dual standard of justice in the country. I think many peaceful protesters on January 6 should absolutely not be in prison, said Ramaswamy, adding, we have a dual standard of justice in this country. One standard applied, Antifa and BLM rioters for the prior 2 years. Time equals 400 ms. greater than. When Acosta pressed on Trump's choice of the word hostages, he suggested that it was irresponsible, given the current tensions in Israel. Ramaswamy retorted by criticizing media accountability, pointing to CNN's handling of the Russia collusion claims and the Hunter Biden laptop story. Time equals 400 ms. greater than. I mean, Jim, let me just be really clear about what's irresponsible as it relates to coverage of Donald Trump, said Trump. And I think that your network and others like you owe some accountability here, from the Russia collusion hoax that never was, to the Hunter Biden laptop story that was actually real before the election were told that it was false. So I think that the real accountability here belongs to the media. Speak the truth, and admit accountability when you are wrong, said Ramaswamy. The back and forth continued, with Acosta trying to pin Ramaswamy down on whether he agreed with the notion of the January 6 protesters being called hostages. Ramaswamy responded by expressing his belief in their constitutional rights being infringed upon, agreeing with the spirit of Trump's sentiment. He argued that many of these protesters were being unjustly prosecuted due to their dissimilar political views, an action he labeled as unconstitutional. Time equals 400 ms. greater than. In many cases, those January 6 protesters were denied constitutional rights. Well, I think I agree with the spirit of it. The spirit of it is those people, many of them, have been denied their constitutional rights, and many of them are peaceful, said Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy underlined his commitment to justice, stating that, if given the power, he would pardon the peaceful January 6 protesters. I don't think that many of those prosecutions are just. My view is, if you're using one standard of political prosecution for somebody because they have political views different from your own, that's not justice. That is injustice. And that's why I've said that anybody who is a peaceful protester on January 6, for those peaceful protesters, they will earn a pardon from me on day one. And I will stand by that, Jim. In an Twitter post, Ramaswamy wrote, this is exactly what the MSM does. Obsess over some irrelevant detail about a random Trump comment, while totally abdicating their own responsibility for systematically lying to the public for the last 5 years. The lack of self-awareness is astounding.